Greetings from inside the YouTubes. My name is Tommy.
And I'm Kendall.
And this is the Beach Hut Boardroom, episode number 2. In this video, we're going to be sharing with you 5 things that we have learned about B2B marketing.
So number 1 is that a solid sales process is key.
And with B2B business, you have got to get really clear on your sales process, and not always the case, don't you think?
Yes, usually not very smoothly planned out.
No, and it needs to be, because of course the risk is that if the sales process is clunky,
Yeah.
then people are just going to be falling off the edge.
Yeah, exactly. It comes before everything else, really.
It does.
You need to make sure that it funnels through nicely.
Yeah, it's almost like reverse engineering, isn't it? You know, start with the transaction. The transaction is the result, isn't it? It's a successful result of marketing, getting a sale, and then reverse engineering down from there. But if you don't know the sales process, and if it's not smooth and it's not clear, it makes it very difficult.
Point number 2 is that your shop front is so important.
What do you mean by shop front?
So I do mean more things, like your website, definitely, but I also mean your social presence and, you know, Google My Business account. Everything that you can find online is your digital shop front, really.
It always surprises me when a business has gone through so much trouble to make their reception area really clean, really smart, really well branded, and that physical front desk, if you will, that shop front is so strict and immaculate, yet their digital shop front, very messy, maybe doesn't even exist. A lot of these companies drive around in nice vans and nice cars saying follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, etc. And what people see when they get there is just not in line with the positioning of the business, because that social media account or that website is the digital equivalent of that reception.
Yeah, exactly.
And businesses, B2B businesses, really need to take that more seriously, I think. What do you think?
Definitely, because I think a lot of B2B businesses focus on, you know, their USPs being them and having sales guys going out and doing things, but a lot of the time, someone's going to find you on Google, they might go away before they get anywhere else just because it looks messy. And
it might just be that someone could have a great sales meeting with a sales rep from a B2B business and be telling their office about it, saying, oh, they're great, they have all the right things to say, they really wowed us, they can really help us, and they can really solve a problem. And then that person then goes and checks them out online and is just like completely not feeling what that first message was portraying. So it can really let people down. It's easy to watch this and be like, of course it is, you're marketing guys, you're going to be talking about that. But it does, we look at things like bounce rates on websites, we look at traffic sources, where people have come from direct, or they've come from social, or they've come from a search engine. We know this stuff and we can see the journey of what people take.
Yeah. And
so we know that if you've got a great shop front, you've got more chance of making that deal. Especially when all the hard work's gone in.
Yeah.
Someone's driven to Hull in a car.
It has a huge impact, definitely.
And it doesn't take much to make sure that shop front is looking good, professional, confident, I think is a good word to use. But it can be easily overlooked. Not important, it's just a social media thing, or it's just an internet thing, but it very much is validation for a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. And with the way that things change, it does need to be freshened up and looked at and improved and updated every couple of years. So even if you've got something, you need to keep it updated and keep it kind of moving, because the amount of stuff that's out there now, you've got to keep up, because your competitors will. So
yeah.
So another thing that's also often overlooked is SEO and the importance that it can have. It takes a lot of time, energy, and it's not transactional. So I do often think that people don't see it. They don't see the value in it, because you don't get this and give that. You know what I mean? It takes time. You need to wait and patient, but you got to do it.
Well, SEO, search engine optimization, for those of you that don't know, it's worth so much money. It's like a position, and I think I love working with B2B businesses, because a lot of the mindset is quite traditional, quite old school. And I really enjoy that. And so what I like to think of is imagine an expo, business expo. You're there, your competitors, but there's other stuff there as well that's not quite as suitable. But let's say that you have the best spot in the expo. You are right where all the people congregate, where they sit and have lunch, where they have coffee. You've got the biggest stand, you've got like outward facing, you can see everything and everything can see you. And you are extremely visible, and you've got great signage, and it literally tells people what it is you do and how you can serve them and their problem and their ambitions and desires. Imagine you had that, you would be in pole position. You would be in the exact place that you want to be to attract attention and generate sales. You'd much rather have that than the little stall next to the toilets in the corner that sort of like looks a little bit barren and no one's really paying it any attention. There's not really any sort of energy coming from there. And that's kind of what it's like with search engine optimization, because if you're ranking high, then people are going to think, oh, that's great, like, you're visible, you're there, you're at the top of that search when people type it into Google or other search engines. If you're there, you are in that pole position, just like in that expo. But if you're right down on page 3, 4, 5, 6 of those searches, no one really is paying you any attention because they've probably already found what they need.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, when you Google anything, do you ever go past page 1?
I certainly don't. But yes, so search engine optimization is a service that we provide. What we do though is we like to be patient, we like to make sure it's part of the services that we're providing. And we're not a SEO only agency, of course. We do lots of different things, but it certainly is one of, I think, the sure shot things that people need.
Yeah, I don't know of an example where a business shouldn't be doing SEO.
No. The only reason you shouldn't do SEO is if you don't have a website.
Yeah.
That is literally it.
Yeah, if you have a website, you want someone to find it, right?
Exactly.
So then, point 4 is that you should be utilising Google Ads.
Yeah, you love a bit of Google Ads.
I do love a bit of Google Ads.
Talk to us about Google Ads.
I always think that a lot of people that are a bit sceptical about Google Ads perhaps don't use them. You know, you can Google something and an ad comes up and you maybe don't click it. But so many people are clicking them. So many people are clicking them. We see it every day.
Yeah.
It is happening. And if you don't click it, you don't pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I do know why. There's a lot of fear around Google.
Yeah,
Sort of negative press. People go, "Oh, you've paid to be there." But again, old school exhibition. Using the same analogy, there's probably an exhibition magazine that goes around to everybody. You want to be on the front cover or not?
Mm.
Like, if you're going to be on the front cover,
Yeah.
you're probably going to pay for that, right? It's the same. So when someone searches for what it is that you do, you get to rank higher, like, or visibly look like you're coming in higher, or at least you get that initial attention from the person searching by paying for it. But it's something that I think is sliding. I think people are trusting it a little bit more, and consumer behaviour is changing. But again, like, where else are you going to put your money?
Mm.
If someone's searching, if you sell rubber bands and someone is searching for they want to buy 1 million rubber bands, right? They want to buy 1 million rubber bands, and you got the chance to put your link there for £1.20 a click. Of course, that could vary. I'm just saying. But you don't. Where else are you going to put that £1.20 that could possibly get you a lead for 1 million rubber bands? You get what I'm saying, right?
And I do think that it's often seen as more of a B2C thing. And I actually think
It's more B2B.
It's more B2B.
People
So
don't want to
much
mess
more.
around. Like, if I'm, again, like, rubber band manufacturer, right? If I'm looking for a certain component to make a certain size band, I'm going to search for something so specific, right? And I don't want to waste time. In fact, I might look at it like, well, fair play, they're doing Google Ads, they must be a legit company.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
If they're paying for that, they must have the resources, they must have the know-how, they must have that whole level of positioning to be there.
I agree.
Super sweet spot, by the way. Ads and high organic SEO social ranking.
Yeah, because then even if people are skeptical of Google Ads, if you still come up under, they've seen you twice, and they're like, oh, okay, they're legit.
Yeah, that you've won in that situation.
Yeah, that's the ideal.
And if you dominate certain searches, so you are ranking high organically and have ads, if that search term is worth a lot of money to you, if it's a large percentage of your revenue or even a small extra percentage, you're laughing.
yeah, if it converts, converts.
Yeah, providing that, like we said before, the shop front is good
Yes.
and the sales process is slick.
So, point number 5, our last point is that whatever the business, it is always
Human to human, or what we call H to H. Every business decision is essentially made by a brain, a person with a brain. And inside that brain, there's an area for emotion. And it's often the emotions that motivate us to choose things, to do things, to avoid certain things we're scared of, or move towards things that we see as useful and pleasurable. And so with that in mind, B2B businesses, it can be very cold. It can seem like it's very black and white, but it's not. It's still very much human to human. I mean, people watching this that are in B2B businesses, I guarantee if you would ask, like, you know, who do you enjoy doing business with? You know, which one of your suppliers do you enjoy doing business with? It will be someone you get on with. It'll be someone that you see eye to eye with. You might say things like, yeah, they just get it, or they see eye to eye, or, you know, I really respect them, or, you know, I like them as a person, or their values or what they stand for. But all of this is all head and heart stuff. This is all human emotion. And so, yeah, B2B is not as flamboyant as B2C when it comes to marketing language and when it comes to things like that and opportunity. However, it's still very much a case of human to human.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm big on that. What's your take on it? Because you hear me talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, even just us, because we are B2B,
Yeah,
and relationships are massively important to us. I guess service-based businesses even more so, because the relationship is such a big part of it, especially for like us.
Yeah.
I think how important it is for our relationships that we have with our clients.
Massively important.
Yeah.
Massively important. And again, like, being completely honest, I think we said it in the last video, we're still a relatively new company. And we like to conduct our business in a certain way, you know, and we're never going to get everything right. We're never going to be 100%, nobody can. But at least we can hold some very important values close to our hearts and everything that we do. And I'd urge and invite other businesses to do the same, because, you know, it is about people. People buy into people, and nobody wants to do business with someone they don't like. You know, so I think H to H, it's getting more common, you know, now it's sort of getting used as a term, but just take a second to think about how that applies to your business and how you might be able to refresh your approach when you know that there's a human being at the other side that eats and sleeps just like you do, that wakes up in the middle of the night thinking about certain things just like you do, and is kind of looking for things that you might be able to help them with. It just changes it very slightly.
Thanks for watching, guys. We're going to be doing this every week. So if you've got any questions for us, just let us know, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with all the new ones.
See you soon.